Step into the Marvel universe. I would love a job. That's all I have to say. I'll take a job, and I've obviously grew up loving Marvel movies and DC movies. If I was contractually allowed to live the best of both worlds, then I would.
It just didn't sound great. It sounds like something a caveman would eat. Like just old bones and overall.
Jeremy Renner has stayed silent for long enough, but it looks like he's finally ready to speak his truth. And trust us, we won't let Snow White drag Hawkeye down without a fight. With Rachel Zegler at the center of heated debates and even Disney seemingly turning against her, the controversy is reaching a boiling point. Could this be the end of her Hollywood fairy tale? And how will Renner respond to the storm she's stirred up?
Go look into this girl, and this is what he found. So this is your Disney cast to play Snow White. Rachel Z says, cancel Jeremy Renner, calling him a transphobic racist, deplatform J.K. Rowling and encourage violence towards her, bullying of Gina Carano over pronouns, says all conservatives are racist white supremacists.
If we ever see you step into the Marvel universe, I would love a job. That's all I have to say. I'll take a job, and I've obviously grew up loving Marvel movies and DC movies. If I was contractually allowed to live the best of both worlds, then I would.
Rachel Zegler, every time that she is in front of a camera, boy, is she just insufferable. It's been a long time since we've seen somebody just exuding so much unlikability.
She's also been making comments like this for a long time now. It wasn't just last year at D23 where she's running her mouth off on Snow White.
In June 2021, Rachel Zegler shocked everyone when she launched an unexpected and unprovoked attack on Jeremy Renner. In a now infamous rant, she labeled the actor a racist, sexist, transphobic. Garbage monster? Seemingly out of nowhere. The timing couldn't have been worse. Renner was already in the middle of a messy custody battle with his ex-wife, and fans and industry insiders alike were stunned by the sudden controversy. Renner, known for his professionalism and acclaimed performances, especially as Marvel's Hawkeye, was being publicly dragged by someone who had no direct connection to the situation. Many people were left wondering, what does Snow White have to do with any of this?
Says he threatened to kill her and also put a gun in his mouth and threatened to kill himself. Now, this is all detailed in new court papers. His ex-wife, Sonny Pacheco, is looking to get sole custody of their 6-year-old daughter, Ava. She accuses the actor of being on drugs and also threatening to kill himself and Sonny, and at one point firing a gun into the ceiling when their daughter was asleep. Now, a rep from Jeremy said the accusations are one-sided with one specific goal in mind.
Whoa, okay, so I don't know how the Marvel universe is even going to handle this or what's going to happen, but he should be put behind bars if that's true.
It's all one-sided right now. We haven't heard his side, so
that's true. Let's just hope that.
The well-being of his daughter Ava has always been and continues to be the primary focus for Jeremy. This is a matter for the court to decide. It's important to know the dramatizations made in Sonny's declaration.
Rachel's attack wasn't just harsh. It was shockingly inaccurate. At the time, Jeremy Renner's ex-wife, Sonny Pacheco, had accused him of a long list of serious offenses, including substance abuse, reckless behavior, and even threats against her life. She even claimed that Renner had fired a gun into the ceiling while their young daughter was sleeping in another room. These accusations could have destroyed anyone's career. But here's the thing, none of these claims were ever proven in court. In fact, Renner fought back and exposed several inconsistencies in Pacheco's story. At one point, Pacheco even demanded that Renner undergo a drug test, but the judge flat out denied the request, stating there wasn't enough evidence to justify it. So while Rachel was busy tweeting about how terrible Renner was, the legal system was actually leaning in his favor. The entire situation began to look less like a legitimate issue and more like a bitter custody battle wrapped in sensational claims. But instead of waiting for the truth to come out, Rachel Zegler recklessly dove headfirst into the mess, making things worse for herself.
Chero came out not too long ago and started saying that Jeremy Renner is a quote-unquote homicidal maniac, that he had threatened both her and the nanny multiple times with a firearm and even put a gun in his own mouth and threatened to kill himself. Sonny Pacheco also says that Jeremy Renner is a pretty severe drug addict and also an alcoholic, and has a habit of leaving drugs around the house where the child can get to them.
He was accused of, I don't even know, it's none of my business. It's none of our business. When someone's going through a custody battle and a public divorce, and one of those parties decides to go public, I don't care what it is.
Rachel seemed determined to ruin Renner's career. In a now infamous tweet, she even joked, "Can I be the new Hawkeye?" As if his personal legal battle was some sort of audition opportunity. But she didn't stop there. She doubled down, tweeting, "The new Hawkeye should be a trans woman of color to stick it to the sexist, transphobic garbage monster." Let's be honest, this wasn't about justice. It felt like a blatant attempt to kick Renner while he was down and snatch his spot in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Fans weren't having it. Many were baffled as to why Rachel inserted herself into such a personal and complicated issue. Some even speculated that her rant was more about self-promotion than standing up for what's right. I mean, campaigning to take someone's job while they're in the middle of a custody battle? That's not a good look. Meanwhile, while Rachel was stirring up drama on Twitter, Renner stayed silent, and that turned out to be the smartest move he could make. When asked in an interview how he handles public controversies, Renner calmly replied, "I don't reply publicly or personally to nonsense. It only empowers it. I don't feed fires. I just don't do it. I refuse to." Although he didn't mention Rachel by name, it was crystal clear who he was referring to. And with that subtle, classy response, Renner shut down the controversy, harder than any tweet.
For when I auditioned. So it's a kind of a hilarious question to say, like, what drew you to the material? Is that, like, I didn't realize that I was reading lines with Dopey. It said, like, Jeff and Amy were reading lines. And then our director, Mark Webb, on Zoom was like, you know, and then Dopey's gonna look at you and whistle. And I took a pause and realized what I was auditioning for. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play that part. Close relationship with Disney now. Could we ever see you step into the Marvel Universe? I would love a job. That's all I have to say. I'll take a job, and I've obviously grew up loving Marvel movies and DC movies. If I was contractually allowed to live the best of both worlds, then I would.
Rachel Zegler is out of control yet again. Let's check it out.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid.
Fans admired Renner even more for staying above the fray. His decision to focus on his personal life and career, rather than fueling the drama, showed the kind of self-control that Rachel's outburst clearly lacked. Rachel didn't just miscalculate, she misfired dramatically. The backlash against her was swift and brutal. Fans were quick to point out that she had no business inserting herself into a custody battle. A common response to her tweets became, "Who asked you?" Many began questioning her true motives, accusing her of using a sensitive situation to boost her own career. And let's not forget, Renner's legal troubles didn't derail his career the way Rachel probably hoped. Instead, he bounced back, stronger than ever, while Rachel's words made her look petty and uninformed. In the end, this whole fiasco was a prime example of what happens when you jump into someone else's business without knowing the full story. Renner kept his cool, focused on his daughter and job, and let the truth speak for itself. Meanwhile, Rachel's attempt to cancel him backfired spectacularly, making her seem more like a social media opportunist than an advocate for justice. And if Rachel thought she could replace Hawkeye with a few angry tweets, she learned the hard way that it takes a lot more than that to take down Jeremy Renner. Rachel presents herself as someone who stands up for what's right, but her actions tell a very different story. The same actress who attacked Jeremy Renner over baseless allegations now finds herself at the center of controversy due to her behavior regarding Disney's Snow White. Imagine claiming to love Marvel and Disney while constantly trashing people and films. She tried to cancel Renner under the guise of justice, but when it came to her own career, she made things worse for everyone, especially Disney. Her statements about Snow White alienated fans, disrespected the original film, and created a PR nightmare that has Disney scrambling to recover. It's hard to take her seriously as a champion for justice when she seems more interested in stirring controversy than taking responsibility. When Disney cast Rachel as the lead in the live-action Snow White, they likely thought they were investing in a fresh face who could bring magic to an iconic character. Instead, they got bad press and growing backlash, mostly because of Rachel's dismissive and arrogant comments in interviews. Rachel publicly criticized the original 1937 Snow White, calling it outdated and creepy. She joked, "Snow White won't be thinking about a prince, she'll be a leader who doesn't need saving." While Disney was trying to modernize a beloved classic, Rachel's remark
Pretty much a guarantee that Disney's Snow White will fail, that it will lose money. Reports are coming in from Daily Mail that Disney has spent $330 million on this movie. After marketing and after the theaters take their cut, this movie has to make, in order to break even, somewhere in the neighborhood of $800 million, and that's really being conservative.
That is not going to happen.
This will be just another failure in a long line of box office bombs that Disney has put out, with the exception of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but I can't wait for Snow White to come out. I'm sure there'll be plenty of reasons to make more videos about the quality of the movie, or lack thereof.
The trailer for the Snow White movie has been getting cooked on the internet these past couple of days, and it is not looking good. Now, in case you didn't know, the trailer for this movie came out just a couple of days ago at D23, and if you thought fans hated the idea of a live-action remake,
came off as smug and disrespectful to the original story. Fans were furious. Many took her words as an insult to the original creators and the millions who grew up loving Snow White. Rachel's comments sparked a wave of backlash online. People questioned why someone so dismissive of the original movie was even cast in the first place. But her PR mistakes didn't just annoy fans, they're also hitting